everybody. Welcome to Challengers PRs. I myself am G Machine. I'm filling in for Crow. And with me I have Mr. King Swampy.
Yo!
And I have Mr. Mean, Miles Gustavo.
Mwahahaha.
Yeah, he's gonna be mean in this video. So we're gonna go in right ahead and go start with number 16 on our list, which would be Griffin. Swampy, what do you gotta say about Mr. Griff's horse?
Well, I respect the horse theme, but I mean, right off the bat, obviously his team it doesn't really have any synergy. The Mega Charizard Y just doesn't really belong there, and Tapu Fini plus Haxorus isn't really that great of an idea. So, but I mean, obviously he has some mons that can do some things, I guess, like Melmetal and Spectrier, I guess, could do some work, but no real speed tiers to speak of. Like, they're pretty out of whack, and overall it's just.
Yeah, the thing for me is he started out really well, right? Like Fini, Melmetal,
Right.
Spectrier, right there.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
huge. And
Solid top three.
And then he went with the horse team. Like, fair enough, that's awesome.
I respect him for doing that, but
yeah, like Glacier is actually very underrated. I find especially if you fill it with Trick Room.
13 points though.
If he had a viable Trick Room setter on this team, it would make a huge difference.
He added the Rapidash Galar in grace period, so that gives him kind of the Trick Room there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be able to run in those games.
Yeah. Even then, after that, you look. There's no dark type, so that's pretty big. Like Miles was saying earlier.
Yeah. No
before the call, he was saying there's nothing for goes there. Go just goes boom. And the Mega Charizard Y, I don't get it.
He's got nothing for Ghost. He's got one Flying Resist. He's got one Dark Resist. There's a lot of types that can just chunk his team, and he's got nothing to do for it. Also, one Rock Setter.
Yeah, Mudsdale is his sole hazard setter on this team.
Rocks are they're still good, but they're not as good anymore.
Yeah, because boots
are
exist,
just
but
overpowered.
Well, he's got Mega Charizard Y, right? So that means that
that's more removal,
hazard pressure.
Yeah,
hazard pressure is on him, and he's got one way to force his opponents to run Defog in Mudsdale, and then he's got only two mons, including the Mega Charizard Y, that can even run Defog.
Yeah, his removal is subpar. Yeah, that's true.
you have Zord Y, you have Fini, and then obviously Fini plus Haxorus, you just weaken your Haxorus by doing that.
He also has no poison type to absorb the Toxic Spikes.
Toxic Spikes is a big.
The thing that's pretty
problem
cool
for
with this, I like though, is like I said, the Rapidash Galar setting up a Trick Room for either Melmetal and Glacier, even Mudsdale. Like that could be fun to watch.
I tell you what, Griff will redeem himself if he can get a kill with that Ponyta.
That's true. That'd be pretty cool. All right, well, I think that's all we have to say for Griff's team.
Yeah.
So we can jump to our 15th, which would be Delta.
Right.
So Miles, what do you got to say for Delta's team?
It's got solid mons kind of across the board. There's nothing that you wouldn't want to bring to a match, right? But it's another team where you just look at it and it just looks like it's missing pieces. I think a big thing for me, what's gonna break like fizz walls? Like if your opponent has like a Skarmory, you've got, I guess, Rotom Mow. But that's not really a breaker for most fizz walls if they're not weak to electric.
Yeah,
that's kind of his only.
My problem with this team is, you look at it, so much bulk, right? That team is so bulky.
Yeah.
But the offense is very lackluster. Like you got a Terrakion and Runikless.
It's got the
but-
Terrakion for the fizz, so it's at least got some fizz pressure.
Yeah, and you got Runikless to break, but after that, what do you got for? You got no setup. You got I don't know.
It's like she went for stall, but then kind of not really, I guess. Because I mean, you went the Mega Sableye, Toxapex, Gliscor, Porygon 2, but I mean that's.
And if you
pretty
look at cores, like I said, I
solid,
don't really care about cores, but if you look at cores, like the Fairy Steel Dragon is,
Yeah, I saw that.
It's there.
yeah.
It exists.
You got
but
no fire type, which right there again. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But and I mean, having Toxapex as your water type isn't necessarily bad either. But obviously, this is post grace period because she made some swaps.
Yeah.
The team she had before was.
Well, she
worse
used
than this one,
she was
but-
all her FAs as well, right? So
Yeah, she did. 'Cause she actually,
it was post.
I think it was post. It was
Post
post
grace.
grace period. Yeah,
So all her FAs are gone for the season, so that's the team she's using for the season, barring trades
yeah,
with other
And barring
coaches.
trades.
yeah.
And that's kind of sad because even like just getting a wish passer for this team would have been so big.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Like,
Escavalier, Drudagon, Rotom-Mow all would love to have a wish passer, and they
Yeah.
just don't get one this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she has good hazards. Her hazards are really good, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
Or hazard
you have
removal.
And she's got
Terrakion and Gliscor and Deontay and Grudigan.
Yeah.
And then
And she's
but
got
then-
the Mega
Fights
Save.
with Toxapex.
Yeah, she's got good removal. Gliscor.
Removal's
Sableye,
alright. You got
Rotom-
Mega Sableye with Magic Bounce as well. Like it's alright. And
Mhm.
what I kind of like as well is for that P2, for the knockoffs and Gliscor, right? You got Terrakion and Mega Sableye that just eats those.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, for sure. Yep.
Other than that, like offensively, it's very lackluster. I find.
Yeah, there's not aside from the Terrakion, there's not a lot of just straight up like wall
Yeah,
breaking
there's-
potential on this team.
Like, well, there's Runikless, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean that's
But even that would prefer to be setup sweeper. most
yeah,
of the time.
you kind of have to set up with Reuniclus before it really does work. But
yeah.
on the plus side, though, it can be a good. She does have a solid use for like Trick Room because like obviously like Escavalier and Drudigan and even like Gliscor and Mega Sableye are pretty good.
Well,
in
and
Trick-
Runikless as well, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Well,
her
Reuniclus is
Trick Room is alright.
She's
yeah.
just. I would just imagine you most of the time just set it with Reuniclus and just keep it in. And
Mhm.
I know Pori has it, but that's kind of the best I think
Yeah.
Trick Room status for her team.
And she's not really weak to anything either. Like her weaknesses are pretty covered, I find, which is good.
Yeah, it's more the resistances that are lacking, but the
Yeah.
weaknesses are fine.
All right, I think we're good there. So we'll jump to our number 14, which are the Memphis Mawwiles, and Mawwile is the coach.
Very convenient that.
Yes. So Miles,
Yeah.
again, what do you have to say?
So this is obviously like an aggregation of a bunch of coaches, and I ended up ranking this team a bit higher than everyone else. And probably half the reason I was forced to is in Victor's, I also drafted Mence, I also drafted Mega Aggron, and I also drafted Chestnut. So, oh, and I drafted a Chansey, which is very similar to the Blissey. So I felt almost forced to rank it at least decently to save face. But even with that, you kind of look at the team. It's got a fair amount of good stuff. Like Blissey and Mega Aggron don't synergize perfectly, but they synergize well enough. Chestnut can also eat some fizz hits. You've got the Volcarona to set up sweep, the Necrozma.
Yeah.
But then, like, I look at the Rhyperior and I just ask what its role is in really most games. It's super similar to Mega Aggron. The
Yeah,
only thing that I think it really adds is it could run weakness policy, but I don't think that's worth drafting it over having something that could fulfill perhaps a little bit of a different role.
Mhm.
And the other things I want to say before Swampy can get in here. The max speed's 100, which same on my team, so I can't be too mad, but it's definitely highly unideal. Articuno is the only real defogger that's going to want to bring to most games, and that's not super fantastic either. And it's got no fairy type, which to me is kind of never something you want to run into a draft league with.
Mm-hmm. For me, yeah, I agree. Like the speed tier, I mean, tapping out at 100 isn't really ideal. In response to the Rhyperior, the only thing you're doing with that thing is adding another fighting weakness.
Yep.
Which is a big problem for this team, I see. Like I liked the first couple picks of this draft, like Volcarona and Necrozma. Like that's pretty good, but it just from there it kind of branches off. I don't know, I'm not really sure.
I would say safe to say, to be honest, like the top 6 all are pretty solid in their own right.
Yeah, Jellison is okay, and Megaagron is pretty good too, but then you get to like the bottom, and it's like you don't really need I guess my question is really what is the Ditto doing? Because you already have, I guess, is it more? It would be more for like somebody gets set up and
anti-setup. Yeah, I think that's what it's for. Yeah.
Because
his team doesn't have. He's got, I think, Articuno has like Whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of, and Mega Aggie has Dragon Tail. So having a anti-sweeper isn't a bad idea.
Especially in front of like Blissey or Umbreon or something like that. Like I like this team. Like it's all right. You got a lot of sweepers, like setup sweepers.
Definitely though, you're gonna see a lot of people that are probably gonna run a lot of sets being Adamant or Modest. Like it's just because of the low speed tiers.
Yeah, like this team has a lot of setup. Volcarona, Necrozma, Salamence, even got Rock Ball.
I mean, Mega Aggron is yeah.
The thing is, the fighting weakness is pretty big. Right?
Yeah,
Mega Aggron, Blissey, Rhyperior, Umbreon, even Articuno on the physical side doesn't really want to take a fighting hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do have Necrozma to take it.
Yeah, you also have
Jellison.
And Volk to some extent.
Yeah. Well, physical hits doesn't really take him well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Volk could be a deterrent too because of flame body, but you know.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you just switched out the Umbreon and the Rhyperior for other mons, the draft gets a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm looking at mons like Mega Diancie just has a field day with this team. Like you have
yeah.
Yeah,
Mega
two mons. You have 2 mons 4 times weak to rock.
I mean, you just you get rid of the Mega Aggron and then it just kind of wins.
Well, even Earth Power, right?
Yeah.
But you have
Mega Aggie should take it.
You have 2 mons 4 times
ideal.
weak to rock. You have Salamence who's weak to rock. Then you got all these fighting weaknesses. I don't know. It's kind of tough to come over.
Yeah.
I think.
I look at this team and I see, well, the one mon that he's going to have the most difficulty fighting against is probably something like Terrakion. But I mean,
but even like you look at Articuno, what's going to do it every week? He's got to have to bring it
a lot
and boots defog.
And he may even most of the time have to run it as a defogger because
he has to bring it as boots defog because
where's aside from, I mean, I guess you could run boots Volcarona as well, but
Noah's gonna run boots a lot, like boots Articuno, boots Salamence, boots Volcarona.
Yeah. That kind of limits your options too.
Yeah. Thank God for boots, though.
Oh yeah, he loves boots.
Boots is one of those meta changers, man. Like it really affected a lot of different mons, like in a good way. So
And I think
That'll
with
be
this we can jump to our number 13,
Yep.
which would be Rozzy.
Okay.
Swampy, take it away.
Okay, so I actually had him one below for me, but this is. I was just looking at this team and I was like, I like the Mega Metacham and I like the Togekiss, but I just, I look at the rest of this team and it's like, I don't know, I guess the Inteleon, but I don't know if that's what you want as your main water type. And the Raikou is nice, but I mean, you got some nice additions this gen, but I don't know what the Chansey's doing on this team at all. Like, it seems really out of place, and I don't know, man. It's tough. It's just there's aside from the Mega Metacham and maybe like if you run like Banded Scizor, like there's not really a lot of like just you're gonna have a hard time breaking teams.
You do have Nidoqueen and Raikou, and even to some extent Grandpa. But yeah, I see what you mean. The thing with me is
it's a fairly slow team. Aside, I mean, because you have Raikou and Inteleon, which are pretty fast, but then it goes down to Mega Metacham, and then after Mega Metacham, it's like
the first 3 picks are awesome, if you ask me.
Yeah, I like the first 3 picks.
Yeah, Mega Metacham, right? Does it have a switch in? Not really. And then you got Togekiss in there just para-flinching you. All the switch-ins for Mega Metacham.
You're gonna make me cry, Gene.
And then you got Scizor, it's gonna come in and clean everything with Bullet Punch, or +2 Bullet Punch, or Bandage.
Yeah.
And then after that, it starts going downhill, right?
Yeah. Well,
really weird.
Like his Hazard's option are okay, like Nidoqueen. Even then, like
it really comes down to opinion, but in my opinion, like I feel like having a good dragon type is always very nice, and Grandpa is not that.
Hey, you should have seen what Ryan could do with the Drampa. He like almost swept someone with it.
His removal
I mean, under Trick Room, it's probably pretty good, but.
Like Rozzy's removal is
his removal. I mean, he's definitely bringing Boots Arcanine and Boots Togekiss. We're gonna see a lot of Boots now.
Yeah, Togekiss you don't want to run Defog much on it. Same with Scizor and Drampa. Like Drampa, you don't really want.
I mean, yeah,
so he has no removal.
He has like no removal at all.
Like he has it, but he doesn't want
to
run it.
He has it, but it's not like ideal.
Especially Togekiss and Scizor. You don't want to run Defog with that core, right?
No. I mean, you could, but
yeah, you can obviously, but
Togekiss doesn't hate running Defog to some games.
Neither does Scizor though, but Scizor,
Scizor, as long as he feels like Mega Metacham is bringing enough offensive pressure, he could be able to run a more defensive Scizor set.
Scizor is covered well here as well, which is nice.
He got the Flash Fire on
Arcanine. Yeah. Just Inteleon, it's mostly there for speed tier, I find.
Right.
Because
it's
kind of like bulky water, but. Yeah.
The funny part about this team to me is that like half of it strikes it as like almost slow team, and then the other half of it's like hyper offense. Just go for it.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily coalesce into a cohesive unit.
No. Well, and here's the thing. I like having a fast water that can sweep, but if I'm gonna draft one of those, I at least need to have a bulky. Like that's just my philosophy.
Yeah,
if
you look at my team in Guardians, I picked up the Mega Gyarados, but at the end I went with the Empoleon as well, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna draft water is one of those ones you can draft 2 of, because there's 2 different types of water.
It's fine to go for an offensive water, but at least grab like defensive waters are so good. Like bulky waters are so good in the meta. You can't go without one almost, right?
Definitely.
Miles, you have anything to say for this team?
I think we've talked about everything that I think is worth saying about it.
Good. So we're gonna go ahead to our number 11 now, I think. mistaken.
Sounds right.
And that would
I
be
remember
Burger.
12. Was it 12?
That would be Burger and his Denver Drowsy.
Okay.
What do you got, Swampy?
Well, I like the like his first 3 picks again, like Mega Deontay, Zapdos, Kiram. That's pretty good, right?
I think that's a trend, right? Like everybody has like good start, and then it just falls off.
I mean, Slowking ain't bad. Kabalion is not the best. Victini is good, but then Alolan
He's got the thwacky. Don't sleep.
I'm not going to sleep on the thwacky, but like, what is the Kangaskhan doing? Like,
Do you really want to know?
Wish
It's his
support.
wish support.
Yeah.
are you? and I'm sorry, but like Alolan Muck is just not good. Like
It's okay, but it relies.
Well,
it's not as what it used to be for sure.
well, because with the berry nerf, it's not nearly what it was before at all.
Yeah,
so,
it's more of
I mean,
if you're
I
running
mean-
it, you're running AV or Sleep Talk basically.
I get it. He needed a dark type, but at round 7, I guess that's not terrible. I guess, but I don't know what else would have been available then for him. But I think that he probably could have found a better dark type than Alolan Muck. But I mean, this team definitely has some power on it. Like Mega Beyonce, Kiram, Victini. Like you're gonna punch some holes with that core. But
Thing I'm scared of this team, like you have no fairy resist other than Victini.
It's just Victini. Yeah, because he was forced
Cobalion
into
and
the
Muckalola.
Alolan Muck.
They're
Yeah.
both neutral. And
Yeah.
the other
That's what I was
thing I
gonna say.
see here is this team is very weak to Edge Quick.
you got a big point there.
You
got
got the
Thwacky.
Thwacky. You got the
Beyonce,
Thwacky
Zapdos,
covered.
Kiram, Kabalion, Victini, Alolan Muck. Like, yeah. I mean, he has the Gligar, but
Even Stone Edge will kind of chunk it a bit.
yeah, it'll chunk it a little bit. And I think
Thwacky is our Lord and Savior.
I think Kabalion, you're gonna have to, if you're bringing that thing, you're probably gonna have to run Shuka a lot on this team. Because
And this
I
team
mean,
is
with
kind of on the slower side. Well, slower side. I see slower side, but a lot. It's I don't know. You got a lot between 100 and 110.
his speed tiers don't really go well together. He's got 2 base 100s, and then he has
He's
a
got
base
3 base
110.
100. Or no,
And then-
that's Mega Kangaskhan, right? That's 100.
Yeah, Mega
Oh.
Kangaskhan is base
Okay.
100.
Yeah.
But he has
Kanga
Mega
is just
Beyonce,
90.
he has Mega Kangaskhan at base 110, and he has Kabalion, which is base 108. And then
Yep.
he's got 2 base 100s with Victini and Zapdos, and then Kiram is base 95, right?
It's Gligar 95 as well.
Yeah.
No,
Or
no,
85.
Gligar's 85.
85,
Yeah, Kiram's 95, I'm pretty sure. But then
Yeah.
after that, it's like,
His
Other than that-
speed tiering actually is pretty solid because
Yeah,
he's
it's not-
got the 80, 85, 90, 95, 100.
Yeah,
Right.
He doesn't break the
So-
110 though, which is
Yeah, I don't know.
well, and
I
a lot
run
of times,
slower.
and with Zapdos, it's like you're never gonna run max speed on Zapdos.
Well, I
and
think that's
obviously
why.
you have the Scarred Victini and Cobalion. But
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's why he got the Victini and the Zapdos because it gives him an actual, in case he needs a defensive
other than that, like
Zapdos set.
pivots are fine, hazards fine.
Yeah.
Removal is alright.
Yeah, I mean, Victini gets U-turn. He has Zapdos for Volt Switch. That's a pretty decent Volt
Got
Switch.
Zapdos
And
with U-turn as well,
realistically,
Zapdos has U-turn as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
has-
Zapdos has
Then
U-turn
you
as
have
well.
Slowking with teleport. You have Cobalion with Volt Switch. Gligar with
Yep.
U-turn.
Mhm.
So his team,
Yeah.
Thwacky.
with U-turn, yeah. So his team is pretty good, like momentum wise.
Yeah,
It's
just
a middle
to
of the
kind
pack
of
team. It's all right. Like it's top heavy and it's
to
Right.
circle back though, just before we move on, I wanted to just mention like if you replace that Cobalion and that Alolan Muck, get yourself some more Fairy Resist.
yeah. I feel
And
like he's
to
gonna have to bring-
diversify his Rock Resist, because right now it's only the Cobalion resisting Rock.
but
I feel like
that
the
doesn't
team-
resist ground, right? So it's kind of tough. Like
Yeah,
he's gonna have to bring
I-
Thwacky a lot. I feel like.
Yeah.
And that's.
I feel
not
like once
good.
if he can take those two and make a good 3 out of them, the team gets a lot better.
Like if he were to replace like, because if you took the Cavalion and replaced it with two different separate mons to be like steel and a fighting type, that would be bad. And then obviously you have Mole Nut you could swap for a better dark type, and then that would make it a lot better, but because you don't want to have like no dark type, because
The thing that scares me about this is like I feel like he has to bring Thwacky a lot, but you don't want to.
That's
do that. Like
fine.
Thwacky's fine. Like if you
Do you wanna mess with me, Gene?
Yes.
Thwacky went 7-5 or something crazy in WWC.
I'm not going to shit on the Thwacky, but I will say this: that it's not the most ideal thing to have as your only grass type. Like,
I think as an only grass type.
No, but
I think
it has
Gene's
to come.
right.
It has to come for the terrain because
I think Gene's more right about that. It's bad that it's so reliant on the Thwacky and to check its weaknesses. I think having it as it's your only grass is actually perfectly fine. It's got seeds. It does everything that.
Yeah, as
your
its only
type
grass
needs
is fine.
to.
It's just it has to come for the terrain a lot, which
the terrain. I agree. That's going to be a big one, but. Yep.
All right, well, that was our number 12. I'm sorry, we did a mistake earlier. So now we're going to go to our actual number 11, which would be Electric and the Breath Mints.
Breath Mints, huh?
Yes. What do you got, Miles?
I actually like this team a fair amount. The main thing that I have a problem with is that its physical attackers are extraordinarily lacking, especially without setup. I actually went over his team with him in WPF. His highest phys attacker, I think, was Komodo, and then his number 2 was Hippowdon, which is just not ideal at all.
Well, does Hippowdon have higher base attack than Zarude?
Yeah,
I think his stats are, but I don't remember what they are anyways.
I know Hippowdon was number 2. It was not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, because you're never gonna run like an offensive Hippowdon. It's just not what it's meant to do.
I really hope you don't. But I did mention to him, I really like the fact that Hippowdon and Stoutland both like together as a sand core work, but can also work completely independently of each other. You don't have to bring.
I see the theme and the sand core without the Escadrille is kind of odd.
But
I just think like they're just both two fine mons for the team. Like it's not reliant on the sand. It's just an option it has, and I think
the option is there for sure.
Yeah, and it's nice because in sand you can run Choice Band Stoutland, which can definitely do some damage.
Another odd thing about this team I find is like you got double Wish Bass, right? Like Vaporeon Florges, that's kind of passive.
Yeah.
Like the defense of this team is alright. The offense is okay at best. Like you do have good
on the special side, it's pretty good. You've got the
physical side,
the Heatran, and the Gengar. All are going to be
on the physical side. You're relying on Komo, Zarude, and Stoutland and Sand, and even a Powdon a bit, but it does seem a little lackluster. And another thing, like your only Dark type does not have knockoff. That's kind of a big oof.
Wait, Zarude doesn't get knockoff?
It does not.
It does not.
Wow. Oh my lord. I did not know
I would not be surprised after that first game if Zarude gets dropped. But we'll see what he does.
Yeah, like Heatran is a really big piece of this team as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got the chops on this team to do what it needs to. Obviously, you're bringing Torrentee to most of your games, so the ground and fighting weaknesses of Heatran are pretty well covered.
Yeah.
Well, you got Rotom for that as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that comes to less games.
Yeah, he looking at his stats, he didn't even bring the Rotom.
Because you look at this, like, is the only knockoff is actually Torrentee.
I mean, like I said, I think if he replaces the Zarude and the Magmar, gets some really powerful Dark type, maybe like a Zoroark, and then, well, no, because you'd want a physical grass type. I don't know what's around that area.
I think that he took Zarude because of the speed tier. Because if you look at his team, he's got Torrentee and Gengar that are 110 and above. But then after that, it goes to, and then whatever even is.
Like, I feel this team will have to toxic stall a lot of teams.
Yeah.
To win. Like, it's gonna outbulk a lot of teams. Like Torrentee got the best regen in the game. It's just physical offense wise, you're really lacking here. Like, you obviously have the stat line in Sand, which could be be a real threat. Zarude, it's kind of an awkward mon to use right now. And Komoho is arguably one of the hardest mons to use right now, right? Like,
Komoho, it's extraordinarily versatile, and yet most of the time for me, you run one of two sets.
Like, obviously, he has the Omnibus available, or the Iron Defense Body Press, even the sub Belly Drum Salic Berry set.
I find personally sub Salic and the defensive sets are the best sets for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can run bulky and run it as like a rock setter and stuff, but yeah.
Other than that, like, this team's gonna be tough to use. That's pretty much what I can say about this.
For sure.
Now we will go to our number 10, which is the best logo, I think. The Swinub Premium.
Oh no.
And Simpleton. God, I love that logo. You should be number one right off that logo, if you ask me.
Right?
You'd say that, and then you look at his team, and that will go away very quickly.
His team overall, pretty good team. He's got one of the best megas in the game, in Mega Mawile, I think.
Perfectly okay, I guess, in some aspects, but
he's got the Veil to set up either the Mew, even in like maybe a Swords Dance Mega Mawile, which could be pretty big. Other than that, setup options.
So, my big thing that I liked about this team that you didn't talk about, it's got Alolan Ninetales and B-Sharp. So, at least what I was interpreting the idea is you set the Veil with Alolan Ninetales, it forces them to defog, and you switch in your B-Sharp.
Yeah, that's a good point there.
I thought that was the strongest part of the team. But on the other part of the team, he's got Mega Mawile and no Trick Room outside of the Mew. Yeah. Which I think personally, Mega Mawile, especially if you're prioritizing it so highly, you need it to do
it does
a lot. And generally, you want the Trick Room for it to be as powerful as you want it to.
Yeah.
And in addition, like, it's just very strange to me that he took two hyper offensive steel types. Like, neither of those two are running a ton of bulk. Obviously, Mega Mawile has a little more natural bulk, so it's not as doom and gloom as it could be, but I can't find it.
That Intimidate is pretty nice coming in as well.
Yeah.
And also, if you look
Ideal.
at, like, going on what you said about Trick Room, he has the Mew as the one Trick Room setter, but he also, his fastest mon is an Alolan Ninetales.
Yes, that's what I was going to say next. Is P tiers are
and then
whack.
I think it's the 86 for Rotom Wash is the next fastest. Oh wait, no, Mew and then Rotom Wash, yeah.
Well, you got Rotom Wash, King, and Goodra, and Bisharp all squished up, right?
Yep. That was my main comment.
Like, Rillaboom Mega Mawile is a nice combo as well.
Yeah.
Kind of covers the ground weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
You have good hazards, but having Rotom Wash being kind of your only remover, like, you got Girder, obviously. But
and you got the Mew.
You got the Mew.
If you were desperate.
This Rotom Wash very reliant on the removal there. But this team doesn't.
It's also his main check to fire types.
Yeah, this team doesn't really care about hazards. It's not hazard weak at all. So that's a plus, I guess.
No, aside from maybe the Alolan Ninetales.
Yeah. But Alolan Tail's pretty much there. Well, I say it's pretty much there for the Veil.
Yeah.
There's not much.
Yeah, I feel like
Like I liked his like first three again. Like his first three picks were pretty good. I mean, like Nidoking and Gudra and Rillaboom aren't necessarily bad either. But I don't know. I don't know how much I like old Ninetales.
I forget, does Grassy Terrain nerf the damage from Word Power as well?
No, it doesn't.
No,
it
it doesn't.
nerfs. It mainly nerfs Earthquake, and then it's also like Dig and Magnitude, I think, are the other two.
Two completely unviable moves. But yeah.
Earthquake's the main important thing.
Yeah.
I think I can kind of see is kind
I
of a
like
weakness
the
with fighting. Like a
the biggest one
like
was the fire weakness.
like a good set of fighter.
Yeah. I mean,
could
he
have
does
access
have
to knockoff. That could be rough.
Pikachu and the Gudra kind of pretty well resist fire, but
Not fighting, I mean, sorry.
oh, you said fire. My bad.
I said fire.
Like a good, like a Mega Gillade, for example. If that thing set up Swords Dance right here, it's
Mega Gallade just kind of wins on this team.
yeah.
You send in the unaware Pyukumuku and you play the long haul.
Yeah.
And I do know that Simpleton likes his Pyukumuku. So
Yeah, Pikumuku
there is
is
that.
there to check it as well, but let's face it, it's a Pikumuku.
I think it's gonna come down. He's gonna have to run Scarf Mons a lot. Like Scarf Nidoking is probably gonna come quite a bit.
That's sad. I don't like Scarf Nidoking.
Other than that, his team's it's all right. Like
I feel like the ideas were there, but the execution was flawed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go to our number. What is it now? 10?
8 or no 9? Sorry,
9.
Yeah,
I believe so.
No, I think we're at 10.
Uh-oh. It's a
Oh,
number.
no,
of
yeah, okay,
some
yeah, we're
sort
going
that
to
will
9.
be edited in post.
Yo, me and my old mind. I'm old,
Don't,
okay?
don't mind Jamie. Just he only forgot how to count.
Me and Swampy are old. We forget things.
Yeah, we're that boomer.
So
We're
we're
that
gonna
boomer.
go to our number 9 team and Sacred TD and the Los Angeles Dodrio.
Okay.
Hit us up,
This is
Swampy.
absolutely funny.
Well, I know Miles had some stuff to say about this game. So
All right, Miles, let's go.
Okay, I want to say that again, this is an aggregate of 4 scores. I think 2 people had Sacred in their top 5. I had him as my next to last.
Yeah, I got.
And I'll tell you
Crow
why.
here at 10.
But my biggest problems with this team, the speed tiers are some of the worst in the league. It's got the 2 110s in Serp Mega Gallade, with the Noivern above that. But then you drop to, what is it, 91 for the Lando T, and then you drop again to 68, which I think is the X-Cloud. And that is not good at all. In fact, half of his team is between 60 and 69 speed, which is a weird thing. And it's not necessarily like the end of the world, but it's far less than ideal. So that was my number 1 problem. And then I went ahead and saw that this team has a Lando T and a Dawn Fan, and I honestly don't see a point in time where the Dawn Fan comes. Lando T has the rocks, it has the defog. I guess Dawn Fan has rapid spin, but like Lando T is just and no offense to my favorite elephant, but Lando T is just a better Mon. Dawn Fan does not come to any games. Unless you just want it to come, or you really want that ice shard, I guess.
Well, you got the rapid spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to bring Lando like pure offensive.
I definitely think that that the Dawn Fan and the X-Cloud and the Alomomola could definitely all be replaced for better Mons. Like you could definitely find another spinner that maybe doesn't share the same weaknesses as Lando. And I don't know what the X-Cloud is doing. I guess, like, having a decent normal type is ideal, but
Well, probably better water.
You could find a better one. Yeah, like where big pink fish comes into play is you kind of, I mean, it's there to be a wish passer, but
Is
you know,
Empoleon free in this? Yeah, Empoleon is free.
I don't know.
Empoleon is free, so
Yeah, I mean, Empoleon would be a nice upgrade for sure.
I mean,
But
his team also kind of needs the wish, though, especially with like Incineroar, Lando T, Aegislash, and
yeah, the
Weezing
wish
Galar.
passing is nice.
Yeah.
Is there for that mostly.
So
but,
Yeah.
it needs the wish passing. It can't even really
Mhm.
get rid of the fish unless it finds another one.
like I look at this team, and
Yeah.
what strikes out to me is just the physical offense. It's huge. Like you got
Yep.
Yeah,
Mega Gallade,
that was a
Lando
big thing for
T.
me. Like, yeah, like Glade, Lando
Yeah,
T, and
Aegislash can be physical.
Or
Incineroar.
special, which is
Yeah.
His
probably going to
special,
run
his special is
most of
mostly
the
relying
time.
on Aegislash and Serp. Like Northern can do some damage and Exploud, I guess, but
Yeah,
If
I
it
mean,
comes.
I mean, Superior and then Incineroar are you know, they can put in work too. But
this is another
Yeah.
team that doesn't have much.
this is a
Of
team that
weaknesses either.
Yeah,
it
its
definitely-
typing was mostly fine, and then I got to all the other stuff, and
Like you obviously have quite a bit of weakness to ice, but that's kind of covered for with Aegislash, Incin, and Momola.
it's also
Yeah.
quite interesting to me. It's a double Intimidate team, but its special defense is much worse than its physical defense. Like, it's got the Weezing Galar, it's got Donphan, Lando T. I don't know, like, the special side of things is just so much worse than the Fizz that the double Intimidate doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also no electric type, which means
Yeah.
Serp and Serp alone has to deal with the bulky waters. So that might
And,
become
like,
a
flying
problem.
resists is entirely on Aegislash.
So that might become a problem there.
Yeah.
This team, I feel, could be set up on it quite a bit with the Momola there, and even Serp to a certain extent.
Mhm.
It depends if it's a steel type,
yeah.
basically.
Hazards are fine, obviously. Removal's fine.
Yeah.
You got the
I
Wish
think
Passer.
he's got four free agency swaps. I think he could put them to good use and make this team a lot better.
Yeah, this team is
Like-
average. I
Yeah.
can say so. Like you got the Mega Gallade, obviously, which could win you games
Yeah.
by itself.
He's got about 5 mons that you can, you know, you look at and you're like, okay, I'll keep those, and then you've got like 4 or 5 other mons that you could easily swap out.
Just a good bulky water can give this team
Definitely.
some trouble.
I mean,
if you don't bring Superior to a matchup where bulky water can just run through you,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
yeah.
You're no freeze dry either, so it's only the Serp.
All right, I think we covered Sacred
Yeah,
Steam.
we covered that.
So now we will go to number 8, and our good buddy Ryan and his London Lucario.
Hmm.
Swampy, what do you got to say about Mr. Ryan's team?
I like this team. I mean, he's got a lot of. He's got. I mean, obviously you have Latios, you have Cinderace, and you have Mega B, which is, you know, some serious offensive, like, you know, firepower right there. But then you have some bulk, you know, with Corviknight, Milotic, Piloswine. I don't know. I don't really like Slurpuff as being your primary fairy type, but
He's learned from me.
I get it. Like, I mean, you can Wish Pass, I guess, and
It has Wish Pass and Webs, so those are probably the main 2 reasons that
And-
I drafted as a defensive fairy.
and I don't like Scrafty as your main dark or fighting type, and it kind of sucks that it has both of those, so it just increases your
I
weakness.
think it's fine as both.
Yeah, but
So, if I remember correctly what Zombie said, and I didn't really look at it, both of his rock setters are weak to fighting. So he's only got the Pilo and the Kecleon.
yeah,
So, like, in terms of, like, standard lead of setting hazards, he has a very exploitable front in that regard.
Oh, you have Toxic Spike Mega Beedrill. Come on.
Oh, of course, yes. New meta.
Yeah. I mean, when it's not running Fell Stingers, you know. But no, yeah. I mean, I guess like hazard, like his hazard removal isn't bad. I mean, obviously you have Cinderace, it just clicks Court Change and removes the hazards. But
Yep. And he's got the Corv, which is one of the premier defoggers in League right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gets Serena with
And
the
I mean,
spin.
he's got a good spinner in Sarina, and so I don't his removal is, I think, is pretty solid.
I think his removal is good. It's just the setting.
Mm-hmm.
I would classify this as a perfectly passable team.
Yeah,
it's
this
not
seems
like
good. Like I see a few things that can
I think like
a
if
good
you
electric
just
type versus a good electric type, you might have a bit of a problem. He does have the Piloswine.
Yeah.
The Helios doesn't really take hits that well.
I mean,
it would need to be spec'd weirdly, which I have done before.
Another thing
but it's
is
not
if
ideal.
he gets ran reflect on, he could have a hard time breaking.
He's got the Latios.
He's got the Latios and Helios, and that's pretty much it, right?
Well, that's another thing
For
too.
special.
So speed tiers, like he's got 4 really fast mons. He's got Latios, Cinderace, Mega B, and Helios, but then it kind of just really drops.
He's got a 109 to 81 drop, which is not fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, for, like what I was like saying for his electric weakness, like his main bulk mons like Corviknight and Milotic, you kind of have to bring Piloswine just to cover those, but that's minor, right?
Or an AV Zarina.
Yeah,
could do it. I've seen that before.
Well, I think if you, I think Piloswine and probably Lottie probably going to come to most games for that, because Lottie can resist.
Another thing I like is U-turn Corviknight, U-turn Cinderace, U-turn Mega B, flip turn Milotic. Switch. Even Eliolisk has U-turn as well. Kecleon has U-turn. Does Serena have U-turn?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so the pivots is so good here.
Yeah, and slow pivoting for Mega Beedrill is essentially like you have to have it, or else it's just
even
coming
you even have
death.
Okay setup in Scrafty, Latios, and Slurpuff.
Right.
So
yeah,
this team is really middle of the pack.
It's solid.
Yeah, it's very solid.
I feel like there's like 1 or 2 changes you could make, and probably get rid of the Kecleon and the Heliolisk maybe, and get it different.
Very underrated, but at 10 points, I kind of feel you.
Yeah,
I don't dislike Heliolisk as a mon, but like with how many fighting weaknesses he has, I feel like he needs to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the rocks thing.
Yeah.
Like if he could swap the Slurpuff, it would be ideal, but
Slurpuff could surprise you. Like the webs are really good in this team as well, especially.
I guess that's true.
Webs with a Mega Beedrill. If the Mega Beedrill can get that Fell Stinger kill, it's pretty much GG.
and Slurpuff's the kind of mon where it runs Belly Drum 1 game out of the amount that you'll play it, and it's a free win.
Even the webs
Someone
with
just won't have it.
Latios in front, like a sub Calm Mind Latios, that's pretty dangerous as well.
Yep.
Or a Moxie.
There's plenty to like.
Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he has a lot of stuff he can do with this team, which is I really like it. Very versatile. And in that, we shall go to our number 17, which would be our Las Vegas Corviknights and Almighty Jacob. And another very okay team. There is some mons that I don't agree with, like Charizard. What is it doing there?
I don't know what the Trapinch is doing there.
Trapinch and Charizard.
It's a one pointer, I guess. You got to pick something.
Well, if you want to take a look at his excellent hazard clear here, you've got the Charizard. I think Thun DT has it, and Starmie, and that's it. It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Like, I like the Clefable Mega Lopunny combo.
Yeah.
But
what I like about this team, it's consistent.
Top 4 are all
like the mons that
very good
he drafted. You know what they're gonna bring, and they're gonna be good at it, regardless of what the other coach bring. Like Megalove's gonna do his thing all the time. Like Clefable does his thing. Pharaoh, same thing. It's gonna be fine. Like he's got his weaknesses covered.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed about this team that's been more a kind of a trending issue with other teams that this team doesn't seem to have is it doesn't seem to have as big as an issue with speed tiers. Because you have Mega Lop, and then it goes to like Thundy T, or it goes to Starmie, and then you have Thundy T and Zard. You have Nihilego. I mean, and then it goes to like Crook. Like I feel like that's pretty good. Like,
Yeah,
you're not gonna have that. You're not gonna have a big problem with that. But I feel like I'm looking at this team. I feel like there's just something missing. Like it
Like
just
this team
feels
is predictable, is what I can say.
this team
his
also is
his only setup is Thundy T. His only removal aside from Thundurus is Starmie.
Are you sleeping on D-Dance Charizard and Nasty Plot Mesprit?
Come on.
And Gene's gone to bed. All right.
Well, I mean, he's got. I mean, if we want to go that route, I mean, he does have the Calm Mind Clefable.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That
I really like the
yeah.
like obviously the Clefable Ferrothorn Crook combo is there, which nothing like people are gonna have a hard time breaking through that.
Well, if you're bringing Lop, Pharaoh, Crook to every game, that's 3 fighting weaknesses right off the bat.
I was just about to say, but then you look at the rest of the team, and it's not as bad.
Yeah, but it's still like if you bring
fighting like so easily, right?
If you bring, ironically enough, Cobalion to this against this team, like the Cobalion could easily sweep it. Starmie's like the only thing that even has a chance to wall it, and it doesn't even wall perfectly. You know it has Mega Horn, right?
Well, yeah. Thundurus as well. We got the stone but
you could just run like Iron
this
Head,
team covers its weaknesses
Close Combat, Mega Horn, and like Stone Edge or whatever.
Yeah, but let's face it, it's a Cobalion, so it's not gonna do good.
Except against this team, apparently.
Nah. But yeah, like I said, these cores are good. Like the hazard removal may be lackluster.
Yeah, I mean,
setup is not that good. But well, no dragons, but that's whatever. Wait, we got Charizard there. That's a dragon, obviously.
That's a dragon, right? Right, guys?
I mean,
please love me.
It gets dragon moves, I guess. So I mean, that counts for something.
Poor Charizard. Is there anything else we can say about this team? Like this, like I'm gonna sum it up again. This is a very standard team. Nothing really wrong with it, but nothing very outstanding about it either.
Well, I feel like if I do want to mention the last thing, it's got 1 ice resist, and if that happens to be a freeze dry, it's got 0.
We got Nihilego.
Yeah, I mean it'll take the freeze dry is okay, but if it's a physical ice move, it's not going to take anything.
Well, Clefable can take hits on for days as well.
Sometimes.
Alright.
You'd be surprised what a Kyurem can do.
True.
Yeah.
And for our 6th place team is the Bagel Man himself. Our Dubai Drapions and Mr. John. There you go. Another good team. Yeah, we're starting to get onto the good teams now, so
I disagree.
Dude, Porygon is obviously a big threat. And that's Porygon 1 people.
Yeah. I mean, it has a kill already, so I mean, gotta watch out.
But he has one, if not the best mon available to our tiers right now, which would be Landorus High.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And then he decided to draft Mega Aerodactyl, and suddenly, like,
Mega Aero kind of seems out of place. He could have drafted a bigger Mega. I agree with you there.
I think it's a good mega now, especially with dual wing beat. But like on this team, it's just
Yeah, you could have paired it
that
off.
they
with
are
bigger,
sharing
better.
almost the exact same weaknesses, except Arrow I think is weak to an extra 2 types.
Like I'm looking at like Mega Aggron or something like that, right? Mega Aggron could have been so good with Orlando Eye.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
the pros to his team is he's got some ridiculous power on this team, and and he does have bulk as well with like Slowbro and Rotom, but the cons being that his team is incredibly weak to Bolt Beam. Like Bolt Beam, just it puts in some serious work on this
It's
team.
got the Rotom Frost, and that's about it.
Yep.
Another thing is he has a big speed gap of 150 to. Do I count Whimsicott?
You can count Whimsicott.
So 150 to 101 then.
Ouch!
Well,
Ouch!
wait, because like, what's Mega Arrow speed tier?
It's
Yeah.
150. That's
so
why he
Oh,
said
from
yeah.
150 to 101. Because
Yeah.
Whimsicott, do you really creep it?
And
No.
then from there it goes. From there
Depends
it
what
goes
you're using.
to Lando, right? So
Yeah, from Mega Arrow to Lando, it's a big gap right there. Then after that, it's okay.
no.
After that,
From
it's alright.
Whimsicott to Lando.
Well,
that's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah, Whimsicott. Do you really count it in speed tiers?
I mean, it's there.
With the pranks
you're
or
running-
stuff like that, like yeah.
If you're running like a Noivern, I would be trying to speed creep it because I wouldn't want to take a Moonblast. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
That's fair.
Mhm.
But this team, like Buzzwole, is another good mon.
Yeah.
Very, very under.
I think
I
this,
don't think he drafted any bad mons besides like obviously the Porygon's kind of just there.
I don't know. I've
but
never been a fan of
I'm
Metagross.
not big on the Dragalge either, but
I've never been a fan of Metagross, but here it
Eh.
kind of fits okay.
I think
I
it's okay.
like Metagross. I think it's. I
If
feel like
nothing
it's a
else,
little-
it's one less bullet punch for Mega Aerodactyl to worry about.
and it's also
Yeah.
a decently like for where it's tiered, like it's a decent steel type. It's a good like if you need a steel type, it's a good pickup. But
But that kind of gets me to a big problem I have with the team. If you look at its hazard setters and removers, it's got for setting Mega Aerodactyl, Metagross, and I think Dragalge might have T-Spikes,
it has Lando as well.
and Lando, but like how many of those things actually want to run rocks? Like the meta can, if Dragalge has T-Spikes, which I don't remember if it does or
It
not.
does. It does get T spikes, yes.
But
Yeah. Another thing to mention here is
That's
the Ghost
kinda
type
bad.
kind of goes brr on it.
What does?
Ghost type kind of goes
Oh,
in
yeah.
because
Well,
Tydragon
he's
doesn't
got
really want to take the chip.
Porygon.
He's got
And the-
Porygon.
And the Hydreigon there.
The
The
one-
Hydreigon doesn't
Porygon.
want to take chip on this team, I feel. But
That was the other thing. Like his defoggers are Landorus, Mega Aerodactyl,
Oh, he's got
Hydreigon, Rotom Frost.
he's got Whimsicott.
So his only actual and Whimsicott.
Whimsicott
so,
is
like,
so good. Like he's
Almost
got
all of those don't want to run defog. except for
I
the
don't know, he's got
Frost.
one of
Well,
the best removal team out there.
You can get away with running Defog on Whimsicott.
Yeah, his team
Yeah.
is pretty good in removal. There's no problems with removals, I think here.
Are you really running removal on any of those first three though?
Whimsicott, Rotom Frost, no problem.
Most likely.
No, Landorus, yeah. But
You're gonna
do you
bring
wanna
Whimsicott
bring
or
them?
Rotom Frost every game.
Okay.
I don't see the
Yeah,
problem. here.
Lando's probably going to be like either Lando or Metagross is going to be the primary rock setter, and Rotom Frost or maybe Whimsicott is going to be primary on this.
I just feel like this team badly needs transactions.
This team is also
The Mega
okay
Aerodactyl
on,
needs to get out of here.
I mean, what's available?
Let's see.
I don't know,
No.
but like Mega Aerodactyl with its buffs, like is probably decent trade bait if there's nothing straight available. But I'm already seeing a Mega Gyarados.
Yeah, I was really looking at that right there.
But thing is, you kind of need
it's
speed
right, it's
after
right
that.
there. I mean, it does add another fairy weakness, but
Oh yeah, he needs fairy resistance too. He only has the Metagross.
he
I
doesn't. Yeah.
really did not like this team. I'm surprised it ended up this high, but that's aside the
You
point.
bring up good points that he does have some weaknesses to it. Like I said, like Mega Arrow is a good mon on this team. Maybe not so much,
It's
but
bad.
it helps with the speed, I guess.
Yeah.
Because other than that, you go down to Landorus or Whimsicott if you want to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got good pivot. Slowbro, Lando, Hydreigon.
Dragalge got flip turn, baby.
Yeah, Road Draw. Gavin got a Memento Whimsicott.
It also has U-turn. I think. In fact, I think he ran it the first game.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's turning.
It's very. This team
Definitely
is
not bad.
very top heavy though. Very, very top heavy. Which is fine. Like no problem there, but we'll see what he does. And to our number 5 team.
Oh, top 5.
Veteran of SBT from season 1. It is Seattle Supersonics, Mr. Hunter. And I like this team. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
I think this is when I think of a completely passable draft. That this would be a very passable draft that I would look at.
One thing I do not like about this team. He stole.
It has Wigglytuff.
No, he stole Griffin's last horse.
Oh,
Yeah.
sad.
That should go to Griffin.
Oh no.
That Rapidash should go to Griffin.
Yeah, never mind. 16 in PRs is
Yeah.
now Hunter for stealing the horse.
But
Wait,
for
are
real,
you allowed to? Alright. I guess he had the Ponyta and the Ponyta Growler earlier.
For real, this team's kind of good. You have another good mon, Urshifu single strike. Celesteela at 18 points, I think it's. I don't like Celesteela, but it's good here. Covers Urshifu.
It's perfectly fine.
Alakazam, good speed tier here. Regieleki, 200 speed, but it isn't. And the only thing I can see is he will have trouble versus ground types. Maybe. You got the Shaman and Swampert, but
Shaman's not bad.
because
Celesteela off the ground. Mega Alt pre-Mega can switch in at least.
yeah,
So it's got some options. I think this is one of those teams also where like it's hard for me to say that there's objectively anything bad with it, but subjectively there's like 3 or 4 mons that I would never want to draft. It's got the Celesteela, like Gene said, I'm not a super big fan of it either. It's got the Swampert, which I think is a very overrated water ground type. Quagsire exists. Wigglytuff I hate, and then Fortress is hard to run most matches.
like this team covers
But,
its
like-
weaknesses fine.
Yeah, but like in context of the team, it's hard to really get too mad at any of those mods except the Wigglytuff.
Like the hazards are okay.
Yep.
Hazard removal, it's alright. Because you got the Magic Guard Zam, you got Celesteela,
Yep.
doesn't really care about hazards other than maybe rocks. Got Mega Alt with the flying base form.
Yep.
Just Urshifu and Swampert don't really appreciate a Toxic Spike. But
Yeah. No
Good.
poison.
he has no poison yet, so.
Didn't even see it.
Yeah.
But this team is another average team here. Like
It's okay, yeah. I mean, I think he covered. I think he covered Urshifu's weakness pretty well, and I feel like Urshifu's going to be like one of his main like sweepers or wall breakers on this team. But like aside from maybe like Mega Alt, but I don't really like the Celesteela. I just don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it kind of works here, I guess.
you do
but-
see half.
I
of
mean, he
his,
does. I mean, he does have the. I mean, because he does have the fortress as well. So,
mhm.
I mean, I don't
You
know.
do see half of
Maybe
his
he should
defensive
just-
mons are kind of weak to fire with Celesteela, Shaman, and Fortress, but he does have the Swampert, Mega Alt, and Kolfag.
Yeah. Maybe he should just dump the fortress.
It
be
gives
honest.
him the Rapid Spin, gives him the Hazards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any poison types with.
And I believe it does get Body Press now, right?
It does. It's not awful
yeah, it could
anymore,
be
but
alright.
it's not great either.
Yeah.
And if you've got Celesteela, it's just I think it'd be hard to justify bringing it to too many games.
Mostly for Hazards, I can see. Or a Spin, but yeah, you're right. He doesn't come much often. And Wigglytuff, I don't know what it's doing there either. But, like
He
his
needed
last,
a normal type, and he had 2 points.
his last 3 mons, in a total of, 13 points, could have probably have been invested in a good 13-point mon.
I don't think it's bad, obviously, to split up your points,
No, it's
but I
not,
think
but-
you needed to split them into better actual mons, personally.
Let me see. Because he has Volcanion at 13. Could be alright for this, actually.
It'd make me feel a little better about the Swampert.
Mm-hmm.
I really do not like that. My main problem with Swampert is it doesn't have the water immunity that all the other water grounds do.
Yeah, like
Except for
Volcanion
Wave
here
Patch.
at 13 would probably be good instead of the last 3 months, right?
It's got the defog. It hits hard.
Yeah.
You only really lose the speed tier from Rapidash.
You don't really care about that, really. But yeah, like I said, another team that's perfectly fine. There's not much wrong to say about it. There's not really much good to say about it either. Really good
Yep.
balanced team. And on that, we will go to our number 4. That would be our Ontario Lucarios and Steph Meister, the Rage Master.
Steph emojis in chat.
Yeah. So Swampy, what do you got to say about Steph's team?
Well, I do like Skarmory and Zeraora next to each other because obviously they complement each other pretty well. But and then Fernape is good. I don't know what the Quagsire is doing on this team.
Excuse me?
You want to explain? Because like
I mean,
I'm not-
Quagsire, I don't think is ever bad in a draft. If you're ever worried about physical sweepers, it's always an option. And
I mean, I do like the Mega V. Yeah.
I think, yeah, and it's got the Skarm, the Mega Venu, and Latios all switch into grass types fine. So it's really well protected, actually. So I think the Quag actually is really good on the team.
Yeah. Looking at his team, I mean, he has Regirock and Infernape as his hazards, and then like his removal is pretty decent. I mean,
He's got this card too.
yeah, he has a
Yeah,
Skarm, too.
he's
Okay.
got
But
Hazard
he
bot,
has,
Skarm.
yeah. But then he has removal. He has like Lottie and Silvally and also Skarmory.
Yeah, I like the Grimstar, especially paired with the offensive threats in Zero.
You put
Yeah.
the Grimmsnarl next to the Skarmory and the Mega Venusaur, and that's actually pretty good.
But are
It's
you
just
gonna
the
give?
Prankster T-Waves just out there for, especially Zero,
Yep.
right?
Are you gonna give Steph the Demon Grim set?
Yeah. Could be alright sometimes. The thing is, bulky ground type kind of tops this team unless it's quite heavy for the Grass Knot Zero or Infernape.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
I
he
mean,
does
it's
have
got
the he
the-
does have
you
the
do
Mega
have
Venusaur,
the Ice Beam Latios in the back for that.
but I would like this team a little bit more if he had another water type that is more offensive.
Another ground type as well, because Quag, like
Yeah,
Miles, I love Quag. Come on, I'm not saying anything bad about Quag, but
of course you're not.
he could have a better ground type here, I find.
mean,
But he does have Silvally if he wants to go Silvally ground. To pick
yeah,
up the slack
exactly.
Or water.
Silvally, I think, is really good in this team because it's got a few minor weaknesses. And I think that's where Silvally does best, is where there's like a matchup here and there where you might want that offensive water type, or you might want a different ground type.
And
Or
Mega
what had-
Venusaur I find in Gen 8 is bleh.
I think it's actually really good.
But
in Gen
here
8.
it's alright to add the bulk.
Times.
The bulk here is nice for it.
I think the big thing that Mega Venu got in Gen 8 was Earth Power, and that makes it a lot more reliable.
Still didn't get T-Spikes though.
I don't really think it needs it.
It would love T-Spikes.
I mean,
Especially like the only
no
poison type
Mon
here would
is
love
going to say
T-Spikes.
no to T-Spikes. Even Mega Drill did not say no to T-Spikes, right? So, like, anything will take it, but it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I think Earth Power was much more like important for Mega
It was
Venusaur,
big,
because
'cause
like
that's
one of
steel
his
type.
biggest problems was dealing with steel types like Heatran or in
Well,
or
this
any,
is
like,
also
bulky
another
steel.
team that likes to pivot. That team likes to pivot.
Oh yeah, I
to-
mean he's
to
got
bring in,
Zeraora, Volt Switch. Savale gets like parting shot. I think
Yeah,
it gets
U-turn.
U-turn.
Yeah, I like this team, especially to bring in like a Latias,
Burning,
Specs Latias
U-turn.
Draco or something like that, right? You can
Yeah.
drop some big hits.
Mm-hmm.
Or just put in, like, the Quagsire or the Skarmory to take a hit after pivoting out of one of your Fairler Mons.
Mm-hmm.
And the Audino, I feel like fits pretty well here too,
Yeah,
because
the wish passing thing.
wish passing on this team, I feel like is
Wish
pretty-
passing for Grim, I think, is the main thing that it
Red
really
Rock,
has.
I'm
So
not-
Volley, too.
Regirock, I'm not a fan of the mon, but it does have the weakness policy Rock Polish, which could be alright, but it also has T-Wave and Rocks, but it's a Regirock.
I mean, it got the body press, I'm pretty sure, this gen, so it's better than it was, obviously, but I
Yeah,
doubt
we'll
it's
see.
coming
We'll see
to
how
the
Steph
mini games.
uses this. This is quite. It's a fast-paced pivot team. When you got the, you do have the screens with Grimmsnarl. You have a lot of sets. Like Grimmsnarl kind of glues this team together. Well, kind of,
Hmm.
which is all right. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good team.
I think the top four, with this team included, are all really solid.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, how about we go to our third place in our PRs, which I'm not gonna say his team name, but would be Paco.
Fair. I'm pretty sure it's done in good spirits, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's very awkward to say out loud.
Yeah. That's why I elect not to speak it.
Very smart.
But
Yeah.
very good team here. Paco drafted really well.
Yeah.
I agree.
Just I'll agree. I'm one that agrees with Stumbles in saying that Zygarde 50 is not very good.
I'm not big on it. Although on this team, I feel like it's pretty solid.
I
Yeah, I
do
mean-
like the setup priority and Mega
Mhm.
Scizor and like.
Well, yeah, you have Mega Scizor, Zygarde, Sylveon. Like, I feel like that's pretty solid core right there. And then you have
setup
like
plus
Greninja.
priority. And it's like in Rock Dusk and to the Swords Dance.
Yeah.
Excel Rock
Mhm.
too.
Yep.
And how could you guys forget about the best mon on the team, Haunter?
I knew we were gonna say that.
I thought you were gonna say the Vileplume, but
I do like Vileplume a lot too, but
Gene-
I'm a Haunter guy.
Gene knows all about Vileplume.
Yep.
I did
So-
almost win a league once, completely off the back of a Vileplume, so I like it a lot. I
I
draft
just
it a
have,
lot less now because it doesn't have the ground resist, but he does have 2 levitators and a Moltres, so most of the time ground's not going to be too much of a problem.
no.
He has the Zygarde 50 himself, in fact, so maybe that was
Yeah.
the real reason he drafted it,
Yeah,
is so that he
probably.
didn't have to deal with 1,000 arrows, because
Yeah.
that spam would have been somewhat of a problem for his team. Another thing I
Yeah.
like about the team, even though I don't like them on always, is I think for 4 points to throw was a really good call. It's not obviously as good as most other fighting types, but I think for what the team would have needed, it does everything it really needs to.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, since it's got Moltres, it wants a nice, bulky rock resist, and I think Throw is a pretty decent choice
Yeah,
for that.
removal is kind of not an. Well, you got the Moltres, but Boots again. And
Yeah.
Mega Scizor, you don't want to run Defog most of the time.
Not too often.
His hazards are right. You got Greninja there.
Uxie,
Uxie,
like in Dusk.
like in Dusk. Yeah, it's pretty good. Snorlax is there to kind of take the ice hits because nothing else really wants to take them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is, and as much as I just said the Throw is really good, like, I feel like having a bulkier water, like if instead of Throw, I think it was
would be good.
4 points, like a Poliwrath, honestly. Instead, run that with an AV. It's pretty bulky, and it's got water absorb. I think that would help the team out actually a fair amount.
Snorlax is gonna be quite crucial against big ice mons.
The scary ice types.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's also got the Mega Scizor. It's normally pretty bulky, so it can take ice hits pretty well.
Same thing, like there's some types missing. Got the electric type missing, which for me personally, an electric type is pretty important.
Mhm.
The main thing, electric type, because rock types are drafted even less than electrics. It's the flying resist.
Flying resist
So-
deals with bulky waters because even here, you don't deal with them well.
Oh no! That's a big problem with this team. Is if something
Well,
pops
you
up
have
that-
the Vileplume, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Vileplume's a decent answer. It can kind of
It-
just sit if nothing else. Sits better
But-
because it's got the poison type too, so it can't get toxic.
But the fact that the Vileplume is literally the only answer to bulky waters on his entire team, I don't know how much I like that.
especially with Ice
Yeah.
Beam there,
And his
Yeah.
only flying resist is like in Dusk. So an electric type actually would be
Well,
really
for
preferable.
special side, like we obviously got the Snorlax right there, but
Yeah, but that's still not a
Yeah.
resist for
well,
a
it's not a
flying
resist,
type.
but he eats them.
It'll
no
take
problem.
the hits.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes.
Yeah,
if
he's
it's not
got
set
some.
up.
He's got some fairly bulky mons on the special side, though. If you look at like Sylveon and Snorlax.
Yeah, I mean the base bulk of his team is very solid. So there's a fair amount of
His
things. that
offense
can
is fine, his bulk is fine, it's pretty balanced there, but there's a lack of types, I find.
Yeah.
It's really just the electric and maybe the bulky water.
Maybe a bulkier
Okay.
dark,
Mhm.
but that's debatable. Yeah.
I don't think that's as necessary.
Nah.
It's hard to tackle.
I wonder if he could swap the Lycanroc Dusk for something else.
Well, Lycanroc
entirely.
Dusk is
It
kind of
can't.
helps. Yeah.
That's the only flying resist.
Yeah.
Sort of stuck with that. I think really
Yeah.
like throw for Poliwrath, and I don't know what you'd replace for the electric type, but it would probably be a good idea.
I mean, you could swap the Lycanroc Dusk for an electric type, but
Then you still only have one flying resist.
yeah. I guess the Snorlax? I don't know.
I don't know. Snorlax kind of takes quite a bit of hits here. On
I think
special
that's the
side.
funny thing. Outside of the throw, there really isn't much replaceable. Even the Haunter's hard to replace because there aren't too many ghost types
God,
down
no.
at 3 points. I'm just saying.
You and your little tears. All right. Other than that, like this team
the
is.
Haunter's the only.
He could swap that Haunter and get a Ghastly or something.
Oh, of course.
But yeah,
Very
this
smart.
team is on the top end. It's a good team.
Actually, now that you mentioned it, Swampy, he has a Ghastly, I think, in WPF. So don't tempt him.
You should get the Gengar.
Has he got a kill with it yet?
No, he didn't bring it to
Well,
his
then-
first match.
Oh, well, then he's disappointing.
All right. Do we have anything else to say about Paco's team?
No,
I think we can move on.
I think we covered it.
Oh, I'll add a bit of things because his pivoting is okay. Got Yuxi,
Mhm.
Grand, Mega Scizor. Not
Yeah.
the best.
Moltres. I think his U-turn.
Not the best, but he has switch-ins for most of his stuff, so that's not the end of the world. Like Sylveon and the Wish Passer could be alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing missing much from this team.
I mean, since we mentioned it, if outside of the throw, I guess the second most replaceable Mon is probably the Zygarde. If you could just find like a different ground type.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid team. And on that, we will go to our number 2 team, and the Brisbane Zero Aura Football Club, or FC, and our coach, Ghost. And this team is very good. I very like this team. It reminds me of my Season 3 team, which I went to the finals with, so kind of excited.
I like this team quite a bit, too.
Yeah, but you might be less happy with it now, Gene, because that's not a baton pass Clefairy.
Yeah, that's sad. Well, it is baton pass Clefairy, but it's not with stats.
Yeah, stat pass.
Imagine passing a belly drum to Garchomp.
Yeah.
But obviously Garchomp, Mega Guard, Rotom Heat. I'm not a fan of Urshifu Rapid, but if you can make it work, good for him.
I mean, it's still like taking close combats from it isn't fun for any sort of non-resist.
I really like their Raquinid pick here.
I do too.
Like, obviously, it doesn't have a special.
Webb's helped this team out a lot because I noticed that, like, aside from like Swellow, because his team, like, he goes like Swellow, and then it's like Charm, Chomp, Mega Guard, and then Webb's helped this team out quite a bit.
Komala, another very underrated Mon, I feel. I
have no idea why it's 3 points in weeks nowadays.
Mega Guard with the webs in Araquanid could be a very big threat.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's.
I don't want to deal with Mega Guard and webs. That's disgusting.
Drapion, I feel, is going to be there for hazards.
Yeah, probably. And it's his dark type.
I know it gets T-spikes. Does it get regular spikes too?
Nope, just T-spikes.
Yeah, okay.
Which are always
and then he also has rocks with Chomp, Clefairy, and Registeel.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he's got plenty in hazards and hazard clear.
Yeah, his removal's not bad either. I mean, yeah, he has Rotom.
Decidueye, Komala, Rotom Heat, and then Swellow has it, but will never bring it unless you're crazy.
He is a little bit Edgequake weak, but he does have
a little bit.
The Decidueye there.
Yeah, also
yeah. Clefairy is gonna be there. I don't know what it's gonna be there for. Kind of.
It comes with rocks and.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask Ghost on that one.
I think technically it has.
Especially I was gonna say, does it Wish Pass? Because.
It does technically. I don't know if it has the stats. I think even Komala has more HP with Wish.
Yeah, especially at pick 7. I'm kind of curious.
The Wish passing is going to be pretty helpful for this team with, Garchomp, Rotom, Mega Guard. So, not a lot of natural recovery.
As long as I don't have to see Wish passing Mega Guard, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like this team comp offensively.
Yeah.
Like I said,
now that I look at it,
fine. Speed tiers is fine. You got the webs. Like Swellow is kind of helps with the speed tiers, which is nice.
Sure does.
Nothing higher than Garchomp. Kind of hurts the Garchomp, but especially you got the Swellow now there, which is nice.
And if it can run modest, that's even scarier.
Mm-hmm. Or even Guts Facade,
Yeah, the Guts set's also always an option. And he's got slow pivots to try to bring it in for Guts proc. So
yeah, pivots are there. You got Baton Pass Clefairy, or does it get Teleport? I'm not sure.
It should.
Yeah. You got U-turn Decidueye, Urshifu. Rotom
Komala.
Gold Switch, Komala U-turn.
The only thing I don't like on this team is I am not a Registeel fan, but other than that,
a thing I would love to see on that team is a Defiant Mon.
Oh yeah, with all the hazards it has, wouldn't hurt. but
Yeah.
I don't know what really is there for him.
Especially with the big threat of having Mega Gardevoir and webs. If you get webs up and he brings in the defog mon, you get a good Defiant mon in there that could be quite dangerous.
I mean, like, I'm
Oh.
sure Phalanx is available, but
Yeah.
and maybe Zapdos Galar, actually. I don't know if I've seen that in any of the drafts.
Not yet. And we only have one
Not
draft
yet.
left, so let me see.
I think
Oh,
I don't.
is it
I
in
think.
last
I
draft?
think it.
No,
I
it's
think it
open.
went on. I think it went undrafted in challenge.
Zapdos Galar
Actually,
is
yeah,
open.
Zapdos Galar might not be a bad call if he can handle. Actually, he probably can't do it because he needs rock resist.
Well,
Mhm.
if you drop,
Unfortunate.
it's too bad that Swallow is so big for his speeders, because you could drop something like Clefairy Swallow and something else for, I don't know.
Well, Urshifu Rapid would be a pretty easy replace for Zapdos Galar,
Yeah, if
as
you
long
do-
as you could find
Yeah,
better rock resists.
if you get a nice water type, like I said, Empoleon is open, but that might be a bit too expensive.
I think Araquanid's fine. I mean, I know you.
Oh no, I want to keep a Araquanid there. Obviously, the webs are pretty big for this team, especially for
And it's-
Garchomp and Mega Guard.
it's
Like
just
Garchomp
fine
with Scale
bulky
Shot
water.
now, so.
Fine
Garchomp with
bulky
Scale
water.
Shot is so scary right now.
Yeah.
I think it might be top 10 mon now. And I don't think that's too much of a Miles hot take.
So I'm very excited to see what Ghost is going to do with this team. Like I said, it reminds
Absolutely.
me a lot of my Season 3 team. And I very
Mhm.
much like that team. Like the first 3 mons are the same, like I had those same 3 and worked very well together.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you didn't have boots for Rotom Heat, right?
Yeah.
Or Scale Shot Garchomp.
Well,
so
granted, I did have the Z Sandstorm Garchomp, but
Oh.
Scale Shot
Heat.
is there. But
Wait, were you allowed to run Sandvale?
Yeah.
Oh god. You nasty.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see what Ghost is going to do with this team. I feel he's a very good front runner with that team.
Yeah, I
At
agree.
number two, I can very see this. team
And
at
he
number
also has 1 point remaining, so if he
Oh,
can
yeah,
play
good-
around
good.
with that.
Good call there, yeah. Like I said,
Points
a
remaining
good-
are fine. What
the
are
only
you
thing I
talking
can see
about?
to add to this team is a good Defiant Mon. But other than that, it's very, very good.
Yep.
And on this, we will go to our number 1 and our Copenhagen Canines and Celebgo.
This
Again,
team is-
another good draft by Celebgo.
Yeah, this team is pretty solid. I mean, you got Coco and Zard, but then you have like obviously that's makes it kind of ground weak, but then you have like Mandibuzz and Suicune is just bulk. So
It's got the Levitate Zong too.
yeah, I mean Levitate Zong.
So the one actual problem with the team is it's got a Mega Zard and it's got for Defog Mandibuzz and Tapu Koko.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend getting some more Hazard Clear of some sort.
Yeah.
Another
Other
thing
than that-
that Crow pointed out that I agree with him strongly is your defense core of Mandibuzz, Suicune, and Bronzong and Licky Licky and Roserade can take them, but you got Suicune and Mandibuzz who are weak to electric, and you do have the electric terrain out, right? With Coco.
Yeah.
So that could
Kill
be
the Mandibuzz faster, damn it.
that could be
Well-
a problem for Cell. But
Well, honestly, I think if you swap that Licky Licky out, because I don't know. I mean, if you're looking
then
at this
Licky
team,
Licky will
I don't-
help him take those electric hits, but yeah.
I just not really seeing what I mean. Obviously, Licky Licky's big thing is like wish passing and stuff, which I don't think this team necessarily needs that much.
He does
Zong
have a lot of
always
recovery.
likes. Zong always
Yeah.
likes wish
I know
passing.
Bronzong
Bronzong and
does,
Mammo's
but I
fine.
mean,
Yeah, Mamo's the other big one, and I guess to some extent Mischievous if it ever
or
comes.
or
Shouldn't hate it.
Suicune, I guess.
Or even
but-
Megazard kind of likes it if he wants to come in
Yeah.
his base form.
Actually,
on,
basically
Rock.
everything on this team except like Roserade will take
Yeah.
a Wish Pass. And Primate, because that's just not going to happen.
Because if the Megazord wants to come in on a on
I
Rocks,
don't like the fact that Primates is fighting type though. Like,
Yeah. Primate, I mean, I used it my first season here. I think it came to 2 games and it did nothing.
Well, I mean,
It's a fine mon. Its claim to fame, though, is being a Defiant mon, and this team has 2 Defoggers to call its own, or 3, I guess, but 1 real Defogger. So, like,
Well,
I'd be
the
kind
thing
of fine
is
personally.
Defogger is very reliable. Like Boots Mandibuzz is one of the best defoggers out there. So
Yeah, for sure. But like, I feel pretty good.
well,
Just
Coco with defog can sometimes be okay. Bring just don't want to defog your own terrain, but
I just feel like personally, if I were facing the Cells team right now, I'd feel pretty comfortable just eating whatever hazards he came out with.
but the hazards he does have are very good.
It's got T-Spikes with Rose Raid, which you can absorb, and then it would just be playing around the rocks.
But he does have regular spikes as well with Rose Raid. So
Yeah.
I feel like another ground type would really help this team. Like, but I'm just not sure what.
I don't really
But
think ground. I mean, Mamoswine's pretty premier in that regard.
Well, definitely for sure, but
cool thing to notice here that again, Crow mentions here is he does have the option of Tailwind, Mandibuzz, or Suicune.
yeah, or maybe a
X
grass,
something like that.
or maybe another grass type that isn't necessarily weak, or isn't like necessarily like neutral to ground, I guess. Because like ground is, this team has a little bit of an issue with ground types, I guess, but
He does have good priority as well, and Ice Shard and Excel Rock.
yeah. Yeah,
Ground
definitely.
types are only going to be a problem if Bronzong either is not Levitate, which on this team I'd be surprised,
Yeah.
or if they've got like some sort of gravity or 1,000 arrows
Yeah,
shenanigans.
he's got Mandibuzz as well, so I'm not really worried about ground types.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good point.
Got Suicune as well. Suicune.
Suicune is just Suicune is just that. That's one of the mods too that we talked about. I think the Licky Licky really helps Suicune with that wish passing.
But yeah, this team it goes in though. If it gets going, nothing really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think those top 4 teams are all like pretty poised for top slots as long as they're played well. I think after the top 4, with the exception of like 2 or 3 teams that were a little lower for me, like most of the teams should be able to compete just fine.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to add to these PRs?
Don't hate us if we don't like your team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
again, these are just opinions,
And they're opinions of your team, not of you.
Yeah.
Just because I said your team is bad doesn't mean you are bad. You are a good person.
Hopefully as
to
well.
whom it may concern.
Hopefully as well if.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a bad season. It just yeah.
Lord knows I've finished last in PRs enough times and somehow come up with miracle runs. It's always possible.
Hopefully,
well, and our 2-time champ Eagle usually ends up last in PRs, and so
Don't get Gene started on Eagle draft. I can feel him raging already.
Nah, he drafts like shit. I tell him every day he drafts like shit. But hopefully you guys that our opinions have helped you.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
But again, hopefully our opinion helped you, and let's see if you do any FAs that will help out.
Yeah.
There's some teams that could use them. But
Absolutely.
all in all, pretty much solid teams. And I wish all of you a very good season and good luck. May the hacks not be too bad.
May the hacks be in your
The
favor.
dream.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's us signing off. Again, good luck
Excellent.
this season. Swampy, on you.
Yeah. I think that covers it.
And Miles finished off.
Hope you enjoyed.
All right, guys. Take care and good
Peace.
luck.